Resident Evil 2 Remake is one of my favorite games of all time, and I think it's a masterpiece because it gave me an experience that not a lot of other games can give. And bosses were a big part of that experience. So, today I'm gonna be ranking them from worst to best. Before we begin, spoiler warning for the entire game of Resident Evil 2, and enjoy. In the seventh place, I have Infected Sewer Alligator, because to put it simply, it's a scripted fight because all you need to do is run once to the left, run once to the right, and then you're good. All you need to do is you choose on the fuel tank, you shoot it, it explodes and it dies. So it's too short of a fight and nothing really special happens. And especially if you do multiple runs, that surprise factor runs out quickly. So for those reasons, I put Infected Sewer Alligator into the 7th place. In the 6th spot, I have G Stage 5, and it's the final evolution of William. And even though it's the final encounter and it's cool cinematically, in terms of a boss fight, it's really lacking because it's a wall of flesh that gets closer to you and you just spam the bullets you have left until it dies. Now, because it's more cinematic and more cool, it gets over the line to beat the infected sewer alligator in terms of fun, but it's not that much better. So that's why it secures the 6th spot on this list. In the 5th spot, I have Stage 1, and this fight, it's quite basic, but it actually is a jump up in quality because actually William is now running around trying to catch you, so you have to wait for him to get tired or get hurt, and you just then unload. As well as there are a lot of, I think, gas pipes that he hits and can break, which damages your vision of him. And if there is enough fog in the room, he can actually disappear and you have to try to hear where he is, so you wouldn't get surprised attacked or jump. And his weakness, of course, is a big eye in his arm. And I think in terms of that, it's already more interesting than the fights below, the fights prior. And I think if not for the fact that it's the first fight and I think it's quite simple and not that intriguing, I would probably put it higher, but that's as high as he goes. In the 5th spot, of course. In the 4th spot, I have Super Tyrant, and I think the fight, to be honest, you need to either deplete his health bar to get, or survive enough time until Ada gives you the rocket launcher and you have to pick it up and then you either shoot it once or sometimes you need to shoot at him twice and he explodes and dies. But I think the fight itself, until you get the rocket launcher, is kinda alright. It's kinda similar to the G Stage 1, where you just have to understand most of its attacks and which side you have to run through to dodge him, and some debris fall down that you need to kinda use to your advantage. But I think why it gets kinda high on this list of 4th is because I think the music, the theme, is the best in the game for him. And the mood and the vibe is very good. And I think even though the fight itself is very simple, I just really enjoy fighting him because it's very cool, everything's falling apart, with his mutated arm, and the team is carrying this so hard because it makes this fight so enjoyable.
The hell? Oh shit. Alright, we end this here.
And in the third spot, I have G Stage 3. And I think this is a fight that is very fun. It's a cool idea to have, even though it is kind of in a lot of people's minds, kind of an overused mechanic that a boss has just eyes popping up and you need to shoot them. But I think what's cool is, even though yes, you're still dealing damage, your main objective is to shoot the eyes around, so he would open up his core and you then have to shoot it until he goes into the second phase, and you no longer have to always shoot the eyes that are around his body, and the core is just becomes always an open target and he becomes a bit more aggressive. I like how the environment is being used because he is actually throwing all of the things and structures from and at you and trying to get. And I think it's just super cool. It's very immersive. I think the coolest part is when he's going into his second phase and he picks up the biggest structure he can find, finally breaks it and throws it into the middle of the arena. But the problem is, at the same time, it's kind of funny because you can just run away until he's like a whole minute trying to rip it off, and then he just throws it on the ground and you're like, yeah, cool. It's cool, but that wasn't really effective. And overall, I think just a very enjoyable fight and quite challenging too. In the second spot, I have G Stage 4. And there's nothing really much to say apart from the fact that it's at this point, William is not really William and he's a sponge, but you have a minigun. And you are unloading bullets at this monstrosity. And I think Resident Evil bosses, some of them in the games are very unique, like the first spot on this list that I'm gonna talk about. But others, it's just all about the feeling and how cool the fight is. And I think this one nails it on the head because you're just out with a minigun fighting a monstrosity, and it's not really challenging. It's quite easy, but it's such I had such a cool feeling fighting this fight because it has some cool mechanics. He's jumping on the ground. There's a time limit before explosion. You're unloading those bullets, and most of the time, because of how the fight is made, when you use up all the minigun bullets, and then you use the other weapons that you don't have a lot, and you just you can see him dying slowly, and his crawling is getting slower. And I think the fight, maybe not, you wouldn't agree with his opinion, but I think in terms of how you feel fighting the fight, one of the best in Resident Evil series. And I'm gonna die on this hill.
Jesus Christ!
But of course, we still have the first spot on this list, which is Stage 2G. And I think for people who have fought this fight and played through the game, it's probably quite a simple answer to why I like this one. But if not, I'm gonna explain it to you. And first of all, the fight starts with William trying to hit you through the ceiling, and you have to dodge, and the fire is spreading, so at every, let's say, half a minute, your area that you can run in gets smaller and smaller, and it's harder to dodge him. And then he comes through the door that you couldn't open, he rips it apart. That's the moment you can dodge him. Then you run while while he's chasing you to get to the arena. You fall to the arena, and it's, I think, one of the most fun mechanics in the game. You have a crane that you have to press the button so it unwinds, and then you have to fight William, knock him down at the spot where the crane's cargo should be. Press the button again, hope you did it fast enough, and he gets hit off the arena. Now you have to do it twice because, you know, it's a boss fight. It's not gonna come easy. And I think this idea is probably quite simple, but I really enjoyed this fight, and I always look forward to this fight because I think it's so cool. And the more playthroughs you do, the quicker and cleaner you do the fight, because you can just maybe use flashlights to just stun lock him, maybe not even stun him, and just run away last second while he gets hit. And I just think there's so many possibilities how we can approach the fight, and in my opinion, without a shadow of a doubt, this is the best fight in the Resident Evil 2 Remake. So this is the end of my ranking of worst to best. In the next video, I'm gonna be ranking them from easiest to hardest. And yeah, if you disagree with the list, comment down below your list and maybe some arguments why it should be that way and you're the one on the right. And if not, have a nice rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Peace.